presented to you to change your mind anyway? Because if there is no standard of evidence that you would accept, it seems disingenuous to ask the question.
I didn't say there's nothing that I would ever accept. I can imagine being convinced of it, just nothing that's ever been presented to me. I
So
think
what
has
could
been
convince you?
any good. But also, we don't have any working theories for the supernatural, so I would only come to that conclusion based on my own incredulousness.
Okay, so is there something that could be done to show you within the limits that we're aware of, right? Like if you had a piece of paper in your wallet that had a certain string of numbers that only you had written down or known about, like would that convince you? What evidence could convince you?
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I've seen magic tricks on America's Got Talent and stuff that I have absolutely no idea what they are. There's sort of a cut to the chase answer for this that I like, which is that an all powerful God knows exactly what that evidence would be, and that God hasn't revealed that evidence.
True, but do you think that the evidence could be presented in line with it depends, I guess, if you believe in free will or if you don't believe that free will is something that exists. Because if there is something that could be presented to you, but you would not be able to refuse that evidence in terms of your ability to choose to believe it or not, I think that
I
would
don't
take
think
away
we
from free
choose. I don't
will.
think we choose our beliefs. I think that's silly.
Okay, so you just think that, so you don't believe in free will, I guess
No,
as a foundational axiom. Is that accurate?
I do not believe in free will. No, I don't think how. I don't see how
Perfect.
in a
Thus,
universe where God knows everything that'll happen that anybody has free will either. It literally makes no sense.
okay, yeah, so sure. My point then is just being if there is no free will, you don't have the ability to choose to believe or not believe, and the people that believe do not have the choice then to believe or not believe. It's just we are cosmic atoms that have aligned our ways, and we're a combination of atoms that have, just come to the point where we are. There's really no point of even arguing anything
That
if
would be
that
true
is
if God
true.
exists, also though, because your beliefs are preordained by God, or else He isn't sovereign.
Well, if you don't believe that he is within time and he is outside of time, we just,
That,
I'm not
but
sure if you're familiar with
that has nothing
Molinism.
to do with you and me choosing our beliefs.
No, it does if you think that God would just know differently if I had free will and chose differently. His knowledge would have been different.
If God knows what you're going to do, then you're not freely like you can't surprise God. You can't do something that God didn't know you were already going to do.
Correct, but I still had the will to choose it, and he knows my choice. I still
But
chose first.
what does it mean
His
to
knowledge is
choose?
outside of time. It
What
means to discern between two options or more.
Yeah, but if you literally can't pick the other option, then in what sense is that free will?
No, no, I can pick either option. God's knowledge is
But
based
you
on
can't.
the
It's
choice I
the
chose.
choice you're going to make is preordained.
It,
You,
it's not, no, it's not preordained. My choice is free. His knowledge is based on my choice. It's
does
secondary. He's outside of time in the Christian worldview.
does
He's not within time.
does God know what you're going to do tomorrow?
Yes, that does not take away my. And
Can
I'll
you do
just,
something other than what God thinks you're or God says you're going to do?
well, he doesn't say I'm going to do it. He just knows I'm going to do it. I would say those are two different things. But yes, I can choose either option. He just knows the option I freely chose to accomplish.
So you seem to be conflating it's possible the possibility of outcomes with what actually occurs. I don't really get this definition of free will. It doesn't mean like what do you think free will is?
It's the ability to choose without having anything determined
Okay.
in terms of what will
Do you
happen.
do you think that Halley's comet can one day turn directions and just start orbiting the sun in a different direction?
I don't believe that can happen, no, based
Okay.
on my understanding of
So does
physics.
Halley's comet have free will?
No, I don't think that's a living being though, with
But
attributed with
but
free will.
Halley's Comet could orbit the sun in a different direction. It's just that it is constrained to not be possibly able to do it.
Correct. Yeah,
It's
based on
just
its current.
imaginable, right?
Yes, sure.
Okay. It's the exact same thing for you in this God universe. You don't have the ability. I can imagine that you would choose A instead of B tomorrow, but you're going to choose B, and there was never a possibility that you were going to choose A. It's just like Halley's Comet.
You're talking from a perspective of God, that I'm not able to
Yeah.
change what He pre knows.
Yeah.
And I agree that He already knows my choice. I just don't believe that that has
Yeah. So that's
taken
not.
away the choice.
So
I still made the choice. Maybe you think it's an
no.
illusion.
Yeah. So there's no
Yeah,
qualitative difference between you and Halley's Comet. Now you kind of snuck in there. Well, Halley's Comet isn't a living thing, but it doesn't matter. Halley's Comet is made of matter. So
matter.
are
Yeah.
you.
Oh, correct.
You don't have. And now this is kind of what I do for the a universe where God doesn't exist sort of argument. But Halley's Comet is made of rock and ice and metal. You and I were just meat machines. We are subject to the laws of physics. We can't do anything about that. And so I don't think, and I think it's pretty clearly obvious that our decision making is bottom up, like literally at nowhere. There isn't a single element of the decision making process where anyone imagines free will is occurring. So then you get this thing called like the pleonistic fallacy, where you have to account for where does the free will, the free choice come
Attribute.
from,
Yeah.
when every single step of the process is just merely physical. And so there's nothing for that. And the only thing people do is they just imagine, well, if I could have, like, if I can imagine possibilities of choice, that means that I'm freely choosing. No, you're not freely choosing, because either
You think it's an
deterministically it's
illusion.
preordained, or even with God, it's still deterministic. It's just because of a
Correct.
different reason, I guess, in a way. So I
Yeah,
just don't, I just
and I
don't
understand
see,
your
go ahead.
I understand your argument. I would say, just to boil mine down, I think if I'm in front of a path forking left or right, God does know which one I will choose, but I freely chose which one, and then that comes into fruition. I this is the hardest part for me personally with Christianity or any deism, is always comes down to free will. But I did look, and I'll just suggest, look into William Lane Craig's talk about Molinism. That's what helped me to understand this a little bit. But hey, I appreciate the respectful conversation, and it was good talking to you. I appreciate it.
Uh, but sure. I mean, if you want to end it there, that's fine.
Oh yeah, sorry, I got to bounce.
No problem. In addition to autographed copies of both my books and, of course, Spanky, I'm excited to announce that I now have stickers, tumblers, apparel, and more on my store. Take Spanky, the God-defeating penguin, and can you put that into a logical syllogism, with you wherever you go now.
And still believe in God only because of personal evidence, or personal reasons, no evidence. With that being said, sorry, my dog is barking. With that being said, about objective morality, would you not agree that there are biological, how do I word this? Biological things that make objective morality exist? For instance, like pain.
Sort of. Like, how do I say this? You could say it's objective in the sense that it's literally true that almost universally humans have an adverse experience toward pain, and like pain is a good starter, but there's lots of other things like being lied to, stolen from, grief, loss, pain, those sorts of things. Like that's true. But for me, morality is a set of, and I've actually, I don't know, I did have thoughts about this and I changed my position slightly, but now I don't actually remember what it was that made me change my position slightly. But the way I had thought about it for a long time was, well, if morality is like an ethics code that you have to follow, and philosophy tells us you can't derive an ought from an is, then it doesn't even matter what the biological facts are. You can't overcome the subjectivity problem of, yeah, but even if those things are true, why ought I follow them?
I mean, that makes sense, but I think ethics are just a little bit more complicated than that. And I would say that, so like I guess my position would be that there are some fundamental factors of morality that are objective. Like harm against others, we have a biological response due to evolution to avoid those type of things. However, how we implement those things in society would be purely subjective based on the society. So like if I murder or kill someone, that is objectively a bad thing, but society can say, well, you did it to protect your family, now it's okay. Or whatever the reason may be, society will make certain rules and exceptions subjectively, but objectively there's a foundation of right and wrong.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that. What the hell is the name? I have a video where I go over this. I was trying to find it, but I don't remember the title of the video. So I got a little bit distracted there. The whole is-ought problem I was trying to come up with. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you want to, like, if you take, what the hell was that? If you take, like, if you want to form a system that works, it's going to be, so like you how do you want to say, like, fulfill everybody's preferences or whatever, something like that. Then what do you do? Well, I think you kind of have to appeal to human nature. And if we all broadly share that, then yeah, if you ground it in things like what you were talking about, then I think that's basically the best you can do, if that makes sense.
No, I would agree. I just think my whole claim is that ethics are a very complicated topic, and people try to simplify them a lot. But I think there is a biological foundation of, I don't even know if right or wrong is the right word to use, but things that we as a species should pursue and should avoid. Like, I think even caring for children, when people bring up like super complicated things like pedophilia or child harm, we have an instinct biologically to protect our children, which is why almost everybody would agree, besides crazy people, that harming children is incorrect. I think it's a biological response. Now, how you implement things in society, I think, is purely subjective.
Yeah, I guess I could probably go along with that.
All right, well, that's all I had. I appreciate it. Love your videos. Keep it up.
Wait, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think about the argument that people make where they say something like, well, the reason we know, I can't remember exactly how they put it, but it's something to the effect of, well, I know the Bible and like the moral commandments or whatever don't come from men. They come from God because they go against men's own interest. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think claiming that morality is objective because it comes from God is silly, because God would be a subject. And one God could say something different, and then therefore you're still playing with subjective morality. And so then God would have to abide by a set of morals that he would be omniscient of, but not necessarily that he created or is. He would just see those laws and have to follow them. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that when people try to say morality is objective because God says this, you could very simply ask, well, if God asked you to rape a child, would you? And then if most people are going to say, no, my God would never tell me to do that, well, then why?
Yeah, it's not coming from God, yeah. God's constrained by moral facts or whatever.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think that argument alone, the morality argument is I think a last crutch for people to try to prove a God, but it just fails fundamentally. So I said, like, I have no evidence of a God. I believe in God simply because of personal experience. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think the Old Testament. I do think there is decent evidence of historical reliability in the New Testament. Not necessarily good enough to believe or devote your life, but I think the Old Testament is just a book of fairy tales.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep, that's all I have.